Let us find ourselves in Teotihuacan as the day surrenders to evening, as the sun descends behind the massive pyramids and the light turns soft and golden across the great avenue. This is a city unlike any other, built on a grand scale, its pyramids rising like mountains from the valley floor, its avenues wide and straight, its plazas vast enough to hold thousands. We are here simply to observe, to drift through these final hours of daylight, letting the peace of this monumental place settle over us like the evening shadows. The city is laid out along a great avenue that runs from north to south, the Avenue of the Dead, as later peoples will call it, though to those who live here it is simply the main road, the spine around which the entire city is organized. The avenue is wide and straight, paved with volcanic stone, designed for processions and ceremonies, for the movement of people and goods, for the daily life of a city that may hold 100,000 souls or more. We stand in the plaza before the Pyramid of the Moon, looking south along the avenue. The pyramid rises behind us, its stepped sides climbing steeply toward the sky, each level smaller than the one below, creating a shape that is both massive and elegant. The pyramid is faced with stone and covered with plaster, painted in vibrant colours that are fading now in the evening light. Reds and greens, blues and yellows, creating patterns that speak of cosmology and power. The light is changing rapidly, the sun touching the western horizon, the sky turning from blue to orange to deep rose. The pyramids cast long shadows across the plaza and the avenue, geometric shapes stretching east, growing longer with each passing moment. The air is cooling quickly, the high altitude ensuring that nights are crisp even after warm days, the temperature dropping as the sun disappears. People are making their way home from the workshops and fields, moving in small groups or alone, their day's labour complete. The city is built in compounds, residential clusters surrounded by walls, each housing multiple families, arranged around central courtyards. These compounds line the smaller streets that branch off from the main avenue, creating neighbourhoods, communities within the larger city. We walk along one of these side streets, narrower than the great avenue, but still substantial, wide enough for two people to walk abreast comfortably. The walls of the compounds rise on either side, plastered and painted, sometimes decorated with murals showing processions and ceremonies, jaguars and serpents, flowering plants and geometric patterns. The murals are beautiful and mysterious, telling stories we can only partially understand, hinting at beliefs and myths that were common knowledge to those who lived here. Through an open doorway, we glimpse one of these residential compounds. The courtyard is rectangular, surrounded by rooms on all sides, the space open to the sky in the centre. The floor is plastered and swept clean. A small altar stands in one corner. A few clay pots are arranged near doorways. The architecture is solid and permanent, built of stone and adobe, designed to last, to provide shelter and security for generations. In the courtyard, a family is preparing for the evening meal. A woman tends a fire built in a corner, cooking on a clay griddle set over the flames. She is making tortillas, the same fundamental food that has sustained people in this region for countless generations. Corn ground into mesa, pressed flat, cooked quickly on the hot surface. The smell of toasting corn fills the courtyard, warm and inviting, speaking of home and sustenance. Near her, clay pots sit on the fire, containing beans that have been simmering for hours, soft and rich, perhaps flavored with chili peppers and herbs. There are squash and tomatoes, foods grown in the fields outside the city, brought in fresh or preserved for the seasons when they don't grow. There is turkey, if this family has been fortunate, the domesticated bird that provides meat and eggs, raised in the courtyard or in small pens. The family gathers for the meal, sitting on woven mats spread on the floor, eating from clay bowls painted with simple designs. The food is simple but nourishing, the flavors distinctive. The combination of corn and beans providing complete nutrition, the vegetables adding variety and vitamins. The meal is eaten without great ceremony, just the natural gathering of family, the satisfaction of hunger, the comfort of routine. Children are present, their voices bright, asking questions, telling stories of their day. They have been learning trades from their parents. Boys working with their fathers in workshops, making obsidian tools or pottery. Girls helping their mothers grind corn and weave cloth. Education here is practical and hands-on. Skills passed directly from one generation to the next. The continuity of knowledge ensuring the community's survival and prosperity. After the meal, as darkness deepens, the family engages in quiet evening activities. A man works on an obsidian blade, carefully pressure flaking the volcanic glass, removing tiny chips to create a sharp edge. The work requiring skill and patience, a craft practiced here to an extraordinary degree. Obsidian, from nearby sources is one of Teotihuacan's most important resources, traded throughout Mesoamerica, valued for its sharpness and beauty. A woman weaves on a backstrap loom, the loom tied to a post on one end and around her waist on the other, the tension created by her own body. She works the threads with practiced fingers, creating patterns as she weaves, geometric designs that have meaning and beauty. Cotton or magi fiber transformed into cloth that will be made into clothing or traded for other goods. The courtyard is lit by small fires and perhaps a few pine torches, the resinous wood burning with a fragrant smoke, providing light and keeping insects at bay. The light is warm and flickering, creating dancing shadows on the plastered walls, a play of light and dark that is both practical and beautiful. Beyond the courtyard walls, the sky is darkening rapidly, the first stars appearing, faint at first, and then growing brighter. Children are prepared for sleep, their faces and hands washed with water from a clay jar, their day clothes removed or simply loosened for comfort. They lie down on patates, woven mats that serve as beds, perhaps covered with cotton blankets if the night is cool. The sleeping areas are simple, rooms off the courtyard with little furniture, just the essentials for rest and storage. Parents speak quietly to the children, perhaps telling stories of the gods, of the creation of the world and the sun, of the hero twins or the feathered serpent, stories that explain the cosmos and teach lessons about behavior and values. The stories are old and familiar, told in soft voices that soothe and comfort, easing the transition from waking to sleep. As the children drift off, their breathing slowing and deepening, the adults continue their work a while longer, finishing tasks that need completion, preparing for the next day. But eventually, they too set aside their work, banking the fire, ensuring everything is secure, ready for sleep themselves. Outside in the streets, the city is growing quiet. The great avenue is nearly empty now, just the occasional figure moving through the darkness, perhaps returning late from some task or ceremony. The pyramids loom enormous in the darkness, their shapes blocking out sections of the star-filled sky, their presence felt even when they cannot be clearly seen. From the temples atop the pyramids, priests keep vigil through the night, tending sacred fires, making observations of the stars, maintaining the connection between earth and sky, between the human world and the divine realm. The fires burn steadily, small points of light high above the city, visible from a great distance, beacons in the darkness. The stars themselves are brilliant in the clear, high-altitude air. Uncountable points of light scattered across the vast darkness. The Milky Way stretches overhead, what the peoples here might see as a cosmic river or road, a path connecting different realms of existence. The constellations are bright and distinct, patterns watched and recorded by priest astronomers, used to track time and predict celestial events, to determine when to plant and when to harvest. We walk toward the Pyramid of the Sun, the largest structure in the city, rising over 200 feet above the plaza floor. Even in darkness, its scale is overwhelming. The mass of stone and earth shaped into this monumental form, built by the labor of thousands over many years. The pyramid is not just architecture, it is cosmology made manifest, a sacred mountain, a connection between earth and sky, a place where the divine can be approached. The plaza before the pyramid is vast and empty at this hour, the paving stones smooth underfoot, worn by countless footsteps during ceremonies and festivals. During the day, this space would be filled with activity, markets and ceremonies, processions and gatherings. But now it is silent and peaceful, the darkness creating a sense of intimacy despite the monumental scale. We can imagine the ceremonies that take place here, the processions climbing the steep stairs to the temple at the summit, the offerings made to the gods, the prayers spoken, the incense burned. These rituals maintain cosmic order, ensure the sun rises each day, bring rain for the crops, protect the city from harm. They are essential work, as important as farming or building, sustaining the world through human devotion and sacrifice. But tonight, there is only quiet, only the vast stillness of the sleeping city. The compounds are dark, their courtyards lit only by the banked coals of cooking fires, their inhabitants lost in sleep and dreams. The workshops are closed and empty, the tools set aside until morning. The streets are silent, except for the occasional bark of a dog or the call of a night bird. The city has been here for centuries and will endure for centuries more before it is eventually abandoned, its people dispersing, its great avenue and pyramids left to the elements and the slow growth of vegetation. But that ending is far in the future, unimaginable to those who sleep here now, to whom the city seems eternal and unchanging, a permanent fixture of the world. And perhaps in some way it is eternal, not in its physical form, which must eventually decay, but in what it represents, in the human capacity to build and create, to organize and cooperate, to transform landscape and stone into something meaningful and beautiful. Those qualities endure even when the buildings themselves do not. We can take comfort in that continuity, in the knowledge that the same fundamental human drives that built Teotihuacan are still present in us, that the desire for meaning and beauty, for community and transcendence connects us across millennia to these ancient peoples sleeping in their compounds. Sleep comes naturally with such thoughts, the mind quieting, the body relaxing, the concerns of our own time fading into insignificance. We can rest here, in this ancient city, under these ancient stars, knowing that rest is the same now as it was then, that sleep is a universal need and gift, that in the darkness all times and places merge into one great quiet. The pyramids stand silent against the sky, massive and patient, waiting for dawn to reveal them once more. The city breathes slowly, peacefully, and we breathe with it, our consciousness fading like the light has faded, surrendering to the deep rest that restores and renews. The stars wheel slowly in their courses, marking time in ways both cosmic and intimate. The night holds everything gently, the pyramids and plazas, the compounds and courtyards, the sleeping families and the wakeful priests, the great city and the valley that cradles it. And we are held too, safe in this ancient darkness, free to drift into sleep as naturally as day drifts into night, as the seasons turn, as the great cycles of time continue their endless revolutions. There is nothing to fear, nothing to resist. There is only peace, only the gentle darkness, only the deep rest that comes when we stop struggling and simply allow ourselves to be held by the night, by the earth, by the eternal patterns that sustain all life. The city dreams, and we dream with it. of pyramids and stars, of corn and fire, of families gathered and work completed, of all the beautiful ordinary moments that make up a life, a city, a civilization, and in dreaming we rest deeply and completely until morning comes again to wake the world. Rest in the shadow of the pyramids under the river of stars.